Well, I've been mowing in the woods for the last few weeks. Got the Land Pride 48-inch rotary mower on the back, using the loader without a bucket on the front as a counterbalance. Got quite a bit of dust in it, so I think I'm going to go ahead and clean it up because we're in a drought. That is how green my yard is. Pretty typical around here. We have one very nearly every year. We have a little 2-acre pasture here that we had a couple calves in feeding, and I took them off a little while back, and I decided not to mow it, to let all the seed heads go to seed. It's almost all grass. There's little dab of weeds in it, not bad, okay? Just a few blackberry briars. But anyway, I want to go ahead and knock those down. But I didn't want to mow it till they said there's a chance of rain. So they're saying now that we got a chance of rain coming. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this mowed. Cover up the wood pile. It's good and dry now, so I'll just throw that tarp back over the top of it and clean up around there. And it looks to me like it'll take probably a couple hours to do this. So before I do that though, I'm going to go ahead and service that tractor and see if we can get that knocked down. Hang with me. here in the field, I have several different types of grasses. They've all seeded out, and as I said, a big part of my purpose is to reseed these grasses. So in order of the most common to the least common, here's the 5 main grasses that I have out here. This here is orchard grass. Okay, have it pretty much throughout the field. There's a patch back here in the back where I'm at that this is mostly another grass. Second most common that I have is fescue, and it hardly doesn't have any seeds left on it, but you can tell, it's pretty easy to tell those two apart. Okay, the orchard grass and the fescue. And the third most common one I have is called brome. Brome is pretty popular with cattle farmers. They like to feed brome. It's a really good pasture grass. It grows thick, grows tall, and puts out lots of seeds. Orchard grass is a cool season grass. Fescue is a cool season grass. Those are both used as pasture grasses. The fourth most common that I have is timothy. And timothy looks kind of like a foxtail, except it's smaller, and it doesn't have near as much fuzz on it as a piece of foxtail. And the seeds on it are real small too. And then the fourth kind I had, I dropped it down here. Let me see if I can find it. This is broom sedge grass. Okay, usually it has white flowers on it, but this has already gone to seed. The flowers have grown off, and I imagine most of the seeds have spread. It's kind of a it's a native grass around here, while the others aren't, by the way. But it grows in a little bit out here, but it gets easily crowded out by others. And so let me go back through them. I keep losing that because it catches a lot of wind. So there's the broom sedge. I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep these organized, but I'll try it. Okay, there's the timothy. Okay, there's the fescue. Okay, and there's the orchard. And let's see, I lost one, but here's another one. And this is the brome. As you can see, they all look like grasses, but they all serve different purposes. Now normally this time of year, the orchard grass and timothy would be past their prime. The fescue would be growing decent, would have already seeded out. The brome would be right in it because it seems to hold out pretty good in the heat. And the sedge, broom sedge, well, I don't pay much attention to it, but it seems like every time I mow, I find a little dab of it out here. So anyway, those are the 5 main grasses I've got, and I also have a few patches out here where some Bermuda has gotten away from me, and some fill that I brought out here in the field. And I've got clovers too. I've got 4 different kinds of clovers. Most common is a white clover. I believe it's a ladino variety. There's red clover, which is a biennial and seeds back. Next I have some alfalfa. Not a lot, but a little bit. And there's a little bitty patch of sweet clover that I've been working on, but this year those cows got in it first sang, and I don't know if it's coming back. But anyway, That's the pasture that I've got out here, and then milkweeds, and blackberries, and a few other things around here. So it makes a pretty good place for the deer to come out, and it's a decent place to graze some calves off every year. So that's what I've got out here, and that's what I'm mowing. Trying to get those seeds started back for next year. Most of you know this, but I'm going to explain it, what I'm doing here. You know, just about any type of farm implement that you run has a certain direction that it works the best. Whether you're tilling or cultivating, mowing, plowing, about anything you'll do with an implement behind a tractor works best if you go in a certain direction. And my dad showed me that when I was young, that the blades on the brush hog, we had an old Farmall H, and it had a blade that was just as wide as the tires. And the blades on it turn one direction, okay? They're turning clockwise. If you were to stand over the top of it, face the tractor, and look down, you'll see that those blades go clockwise. Well, that means that the left side of the grass is being pushed forward as it's cut, and the right side is being pushed toward the rear. Well, coincidentally, the grass underneath the tire on the left side is also being pushed forward. That means that you're going to miss some of it. So what he taught me to do was to make a pass, turn around, and go back and make the next pass in the opposite direction. That'll clip that grass off that was laid down. Now, I've always done it that way, but I notice a lot of people don't. Now, it's a lot quicker if you just kind of make a spiral and you just keep going the same direction over and over and over again. But even if you overlap it, you're not going to get that grass that's laying forward to pop back up when that mower comes around it going the same direction. So every time I make a pass, I turn around, I zip around 360 degrees, and I go right back the other direction. That's what I'm doing right here. Works pretty well for me. I ain't saying it's right. I'm just saying it was the way I was taught. Well, got this field finished out here, and show you what she looks like. Looking from the back toward the house up there. You notice there's some spots I missed. That was intentional. It's plants I want to save. This is common milkweed here. Kind of ravaged by the drought, but if we get a good little rain, it'll come back and put some flowers on. It's one of those flowers one of those wildflowers that you might want to keep around. It's all kinds of favorable insects feed off of them, especially the monarch butterfly. That's their favorite food. And I've got walnut trees out here that I've let grow as volunteers. There's one there, and then one there in the middle. Now those are pecan trees that I planted. One there, one right there by the tractor, then one way over there in that corner. Okay, and there's a volunteer walnut. There's one, and there's one, and there's one. So I decided to leave a couple volunteers out here in this opening. I don't know which one's going to do best, but I'll pick one of them. They're a little too close together to grow, but I'll pick one of those volunteers and let it grow. This here is a hickory. It's an older tree, and it puts out a few nuts, but it really doesn't put on as many as one would think. That right there is a black walnut tree. Okay, and it's probably about 30 inches in diameter and has pretty good spread in it. That right there is a blackjack oak. Don't have many of those left. They tend to die out younger than others. That there is a black oak. And this right here's a volunteer hickory tree that I'm pretty sure came off of that bigger one up there in the middle of the field. It's the same variety anyway. And this is the first volunteer walnut that I let grow. So that tree right there is probably, oh, I'm going to call it 20 years old. It's not real big. I'm going to say it's over a foot in diameter down here at the base, but it produces a lot of walnuts. Now this year I don't expect to see hardly any walnuts, because when the grass is like this, and it ain't even August yet, you probably ain't going to get a lot of nuts on the trees. But the one I'm really worried about is this tree right over here. I don't know if you can see that limb right up here, but I ain't gonna walk under it. Did mow under it. Don't know if my hard hat would have done me any good, but that's one of the reasons I wore it. But see that limb right up there? That limb is almost 2 feet in diameter right here. Because this tree, I don't know if you can gauge it or not, but this tree right here is, there's my hand on the side of the tree, and here's my reach across the tree. So we're going to say that thing there is, that's a 4-footer. Okay, it's the biggest tree I got, and it's one of the most unhealthy. And the reason why is because, I don't know if you can see these lines through here. That's because there's a fence embedded in this tree. It was a fence row at one time. Okay? And the reason why is because if you shoot straight back through here, before them walnut trees I grew up that I volunteered out down there, this used to be a road. It ran right on through and came right down through here. I'll step out here so you can see a little more of it. And goes all the way outside where my house is, clear out to the next road. Okay, this used to be the old road, farm road, not the main one. The main one's over just a little bit farther. this used to be a farm road through here. So I've got 4 trees up through here who've got wire growing in them. And I think this one right here is going to be the next one to bite the dust. Because you take a limb out, it's 2 feet in diameter, and see that big bowl right up there? B-O-L-E, burl. That's a big limb that came off years ago and grew over. This tree, I don't think's got enough vitamins and minerals left in it to grow over that limb right there. Because you see, the reason why that limb died is because eventually being choked out by this fence caused that bark to die on this side. Okay, so I got to figure out what to do with this tree, because that portion of it is over the neighbor's place. Okay, but anyway, got the mowing done. I think I'm gonna head on up. It's probably about 101 right now. I think I mentioned that it's supposed to be heading up around 105, so might be a good time to go in and sit on the porch with the shade and the fan going, and maybe drink a little dab of tea. Do appreciate you watching, and you have nothing less than a wonderful day.